everyone and welcome back to CarWale. I'm Bilal and with me here today is the all-new Maruti Suzuki Grand Vitara. Now with the Grand Vitara there are a lot of choices of what you get under the hood. So you have a mild hybrid version, a strong hybrid version and there's also a CNG option now. Apart from that you get a choices of transmission as well. So there's an eCVT, a 6-speed torque converter and a manual. But what we have here today is an all-grip batch at the back, which means the power is sent to all 4 wheels via a 5-speed manual. So in this video, we'll be talking about 5 good things about the Maruti Suzuki Grand Vitara all-wheel drive and 2 things that aren't that great. We'll also be answering a few questions that you, our dear viewer, have asked us in a comment section of our social media platform. So stick till the end. And you also know the drill. It's like, share and subscribe to the CarWale YouTube channel. Now, as we all know that the Grand Vitara is available with a plethora of powertrain combinations. What we have here, the all-wheel drive, it's only available with the K15C petrol engine. It's a Maruti's engine and it can be had either with a 6-speed automatic, which also does duties in the XL6 and the Brezza, or what we have here is a 5-speed manual, which sends power to all-grip, all-wheel drive combination. Now this 1.5 petrol engine is more refined and vibration-free compared to the 1.5 of the hybrid version. More so because it's a 3-cylinder engine, this is a 4-cylinder unit. It has good grunt, be it lower down the rev range or middle, or it can rev all the way till 6,500 RPM. So for everyday drivability, you have enough grunt. So even if you are in a gear too high, the engine would just happily pot around without giving you any troubles whatsoever. 100 bhp of total power might appear underwhelming for some because it's the same output you get in the Brezza, but the Brezza is almost 70 kgs lighter than this, and this is quite a bigger car. So what it needs probably is a turbocharging, or a diesel, but that's a discussion for some other day. We tested this Grand Vitara all-wheel drive with a 5-speed manual on our V-Box and found out that the 0 to 100 km/h time was 14.51 seconds. Meanwhile, in-gear acceleration in the third gear for 20 to 80 km/h came up in 8.08 seconds. And the 40 to 100 km/h in the fourth gear was in 10.49 seconds. Here's how it stacks up against its rivals, some of which are turbocharged. Now the Grand Vitara, although it's slightly bigger in dimension, it's based on the same underpinning as the current gen Brezza. So the ride quality and the handling is quite similar to the sub 4 meter version. So it absorbs all the imperfections and irregularities quite nicely, although it's stiffly sprung. But it doesn't let the really sharp creases or bumps travel inside the cabin, which is a really nice touch. It does get wiggly and jiggly sometimes, and you can feel the imperfection which could have been more planned. But again, over daily commutes or long journeys, it absorbs the undulation really well. Going over speed breakers, it doesn't have too much of a vertical movement, and that is a really nice thing. What helps the Grand Vitara's case is its 210 mm of ground clearance. So no matter how bad the road ahead of you gets or even disappears, you don't have to worry about scraping the underbelly. But more importantly, even if you have 5 people on board, 5 heavy people like me on board, the ground clearance doesn't dip that much, which is a commendable thing, because when you are traveling in the rural areas where the roads often tends to disappear, you don't have to stop or slow down just to cross those patches. So we have put the Grand Vitara all-wheel drive through a CarWale fuel efficiency test, and we found out that the realistic fuel mileage in the city was just over 11 kmpl. And out on the highway, it improved to around 18.8 kmpl. That gives us a real-world fuel efficiency of around 13 to 14 kmpl. Had the 5-speed manual would have been a 6-speed unit, or the 5-speed unit had a taller gearing ratio, we could have seen a better fuel efficiency figures. We haven't been able to test the strong hybrid version of the Grand Vitara yet, But we did the test on the Toyota Urban Cruiser Highrider in the hybrid avatar, and the difference between the two was staggering. So if you are buying the Grand Vitara with a focus on fuel mileage more than anything else, the hybrid version would be the better bet. So all these years, Maruti was notoriously famous for offering lesser features in their cars compared to the counterparts. But things are changing, and for better. So you get the Grand Vitara with all the features that you would expect from the segment and some more. So you get a massive sunroof in which not only the first pane but the second pane moves back to give you a large space of the sunroof, panoramic sunroof. Secondly, you have a floating 9-inch touchscreen display with an inherent all black theme. So people who like the all black theme or the dark theme on their smart devices, they would surely appreciate it. And there are lots of information on offer as well. You also get a 360-degree camera now, which is really helpful and very handy when driving in a city or parking in a crowded places. It does miss out on just a couple of feel-good features that the rivals offer, which we will discuss in a few minutes. You don't buy an all-wheel drive SUV and then go trail searching or outlanding or looking for wilderness. You buy an all-wheel drive SUV because you need one. For instance, if I was living in some remote area where roads round the clock are as paved or as good as say they were in the Roman dynasty, then the all-wheel drive Grand Vitara, it definitely makes sense. Because you see, the only all-wheel drive version in this segment before that used to be offered was the Duster all-wheel drive, and it has become a unicorn now. People who have it, they swear by it. Will that be the case with the Grand Vitara all-wheel drive? Well, only time will tell. But for now, you don't get a very hardcore lock 4x4 version here. It's the all grip plus that you get in the Jimny, but here you get an all grip version with a locking differential. The power is controlled through all four wheels via electronics, and it does a pretty good job. So now I'm in place where usually a four-wheel drive SUV would definitely struggle. I've had the wheel in the air for some time now. Yeah, that was awesome. There are no roads here. I'm just finding my way through it making the best of the Grand Vitara's all-wheel drive hardware. Ooh, nice. So the wheel was the left wheel, or then the right wheel at the back was in the air. So adjustable on the circular dial is you get a sport mode. You press in the center, you get a normal driving mode, and turn it on the left, you get a snow mode. There's a locking differential as well. You can lock it manually via pressing a button which says lock. Now the snow mode would be really helpful, say in the northern part of India where you get a snowfall for many months in a calendar year. So people who live there, who need an all-wheel drive version, they have an option now in the Grand Vitara all-wheel drive. Which brings me to its stablemate, the Jimny. Now the Jimny would have a 4x4 option. It can take on the terrains which are much more difficult and where the Grand Vitara all-wheel drive might struggle. But the Grand Vitara makes for a more sensible buy because it's bigger, it has all-wheel drive, and it can carry 5 people in a lot of comfort compared to the Jimny, which is slightly smaller, and you can still go in terrains in rougher parts of the city or where places where there are no roads or very rough patches of road. You can say the Grand Vitara makes for a more sensible buy. What do you think? Would you choose the 4x4 Jimny or the Grand Vitara all-wheel drive? Let us know your opinion in the comment section below. Now I know the cars have gotten very expensive of late, but this Grand Vitara in its all-wheel drive version, it's almost 20 lakh rupees on the road Mumbai, and the hybrid version is even couple of lakhs rupees more. But the cabin of the Grand Vitara, it doesn't exude that feel of paying a premium of 20 lakh rupees. There are some signs of cost cutting, which is a slight bummer. Compared to the Korean or even the German alternatives, the cabin design, fit and finish, and even the materials used here appears slightly below par. There's some level of cost cutting seen all around, such as the cloth reflector used for the sunroof, or the plastic quality on the lower half of the dashboard, or even the basic analog instrument dial, which is also seen in the Maruti vehicles half its cost. This makes the Grand Vitara appear less special. It also misses out on some feel-good features such as electric adjustment for the front seats or ADAS hardware. And if you're upgrading from the current gen Brezza, it isn't a step up. Most of the elements are similar and the Grand Vitara just feels like a slightly bigger and a slightly more spacious version of the current gen Brezza. Sure, the Grand Vitara is Maruti's current flagship, and someone upgrading from, say, the Swift or the Wagoner would surely be happy with what the Grand Vitara offers. But in a cutthroat segment, the Creta and the Seltos have set a really high bar for the Grand Vitara and even the high rider to breach. Secondly, this all-wheel drive comes as a one-dimensional offering, whereas the Grand Vitara in itself is such a versatile and practical SUV. Only a handful of Grand Vitara buyers would be needing the all-wheel drive layout to get unstuck in a tricky situation. And this all-wheel drive won't be really helpful in a very demanding terrain where you'd need a proper real off-roading 4x4 with locking differential and more. The approach angle isn't good either for serious off-roading escapades. Add to it the petrol powertrain with just 137 Nm of torque, and it just doesn't cut it at times when you need the grunt of a diesel mill. So the all-wheel drive buyers would be few and far in between, but those who would buy it won't regret it if they really know how to make the most of it. So let us take in some questions that our viewers have wrote into us on our social media platforms. So basically, before shooting this video, we had put out a video on our social media platforms so that you, our dear viewers, can write in all your questions to us regarding the car. And we'll be doing it for all the cars in the future. So do look out for that as well. Now there are two questions asked by Vaidyanath Dakshinamurthy. He has asked us how effective are the headlamps and can we manage without the fog light. The second question is how's the handling on the highway. So you get an LED projector in the Grand Vitara all-wheel drive, and at night it's quite powerful. It's the white light and the throw is decent, but compared to the yellow light or the halogen projectors, it might not be that effective when there's strong fog that you had to wade through, say sometimes in the mountains. As for the handling on highway, well, the steering has good hefty weight to it when on the highway speeds, which also helps when, and it's also responsive. So when overtaking slow moving traffic, it has good composure. It also helps with the high speed stability. So you don't have to constantly adjust the steering when on the highway, which will not tire you out when on, say, intercity travels. So hope that answered the question. So Mrs. Raut has mentioned that I think at this price range, Alcazar diesel automatic makes for a good choice. Well, I agree and I don't, because the Grand Vitara, it's a 5-seater while the Alcazar is a 3-row SUV. And the Alcazar diesel automatic, as we have mentioned, is a couple of lakhs more expensive than the range-topping version of the Grand Vitara. But that's an interesting comparison, and I would also like to know what other cars you would pitch the Grand Vitara, be it the hybrid, the all-wheel drive, or any of the version of the Grand Vitara against other SUVs. You can mention that SUVs in a comment section below. So that's all from this video. If you have any other questions regarding the Grand Vitara, be it the hybrid, the mild hybrid, the CNG version, you can always visit our website www.carwale.com. And if you like this video or you want this format to continue on other cars as well, let us know in the comment section below and we'll be happy to oblige. This is Bilal signing off. Until next time.